Tammy Sue Baker. Welcome to the Jim Bakker Show. Today, our very special guest is New York Times best-selling author David Horowitz. And now, please give a warm welcome to my parents and the hosts of the Jim Bakker Show, Jim and Lori Bakker.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gray Street.
Yes.
So happy to have you here with us today.
We are.
And the author of The Big Agenda, David Horowitz, is here
Yes.
with us today.
Woo! Back
Great to have
with
you
us.
back. This is day 2.
Great to have you.
And we didn't get to all the questions yesterday, so we're going to have a kind of a fast rundown of about 12 questions, if you don't mind.
Right ahead.
But before we do that, we have to talk about David's background just a little bit, give you just a snippet of information. Actually, right before we started the broadcast, I looked down at your bio. I mean, his bio actually would be pages long.
Yeah.
We can do a whole show just on his bio.
Just on your bio, but you are the founder and the president of the David Horowitz Freedom Center. What is that exactly?
I like to think of it as a battle tank.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, we are engaged in the war to defend this country against
Yes.
its enemies at home and abroad. And the greater threat is from the enemies at home.
You were in the communist...
No, I was never. My parents were communists.
Your parents,
I was
you were brought up...
17 with the famous Khrushchev report, when Khrushchev admitted that Stalin had killed a lot of people. Of course, he was only concerned about the communists that Stalin killed. But that made me a new leftist. And the new left was
you
in
were
it.
really left, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was very, very left. It's interesting how, again, we had talked about this yesterday, how polite conservatives are and not, I'm fully engaged in this battle. When I first came out of the left, I spoke at the Cardinal Mindszenty Foundation. Cardinal Mindszenty was a cardinal in Hungary who, when the communists took over, he, instead of fleeing the country, he went into the American embassy and led the anti-communist resistance. They introduced me. I said, "This is David Horowitz, a former peace activist and civil rights worker." And I said, "You know, I don't want to seem impolite, correct my host, but if you had asked me what I was when I was a leftist, I would have said, I am a Marxist revolutionary."
Wow.
And it's these names. Don't call them, they're not for peace. They're for destroying America. They're for aiding our enemies. And they're not for civil rights either, as is obvious from the way that we talked about this yesterday.
Yes.
The plight of the inner cities, the way I mean, that they would attack Trump for pointing to the carnage that's going on in our inner cities. It's the number one cause of death of young black males is homicide. There is a carnage.
Yes.
Do you have that news story about the black males in Los Angeles?
Right here, this is from the press telegram saying 75% of black California boys do not meet the state reading standards.
Yeah, and these are Democrat-run schools, 100%. The teacher unions, which stand up for the teachers, they're run as a jobs program for adults. They don't care about the kids. They do it year in and year out. It's an atrocity. It's a social atrocity.
I believe it because growing up, you know, a lot of people ask me, why did you walk away from the gangs? Page 85 in your book is one of the reasons that I walked away from the gang lifestyle. The biggest thing was that they lied to us. When I discovered the biggest lie on how they were using young men like me, and we were thrown into the rubble and being left for dead and being used by a party for a vote. After I grew up a little bit and I started getting rank in the gangs, it stopped being about just being in a gang. It became about a political party. And they began to ask us to do things that in your book you described. And that's when I realized I'm living a lie. I can't continue to live this. I have to figure out how to stop this from young kids dying in the streets because of a vote.
Well, what you're saying is in page 86, you said what Mondo's saying is what you wrote, David. Everything that is wrong with the inner cities of America that policy can affect, Democrats are responsible for. Every killing field, every school that in and out, year in and out, fails to teach its children the basic skills they need to get ahead, and that fails to graduate 30 to 40% of its charges.
It says every school that fails to graduate also 30 to 40% of its charges, while those who do get degrees are often functionally illiterate. Every welfare system that promotes dependency, condemning its recipients to a lifetime of destruction, even gun control law that disarms law-abiding citizens in the high crime areas.
Yeah.
And it goes on. I mean, it's just
explains it all.
I want people to
in
read.
detail.
I
It's
want
all in
people
here.
to read this. You have the
Well,
greatest insight I've ever seen.
Well, I've been working on that for 30 years. I mean, it just...
So you understand it. It's in there, and you're helping us to understand it. And I want to thank you because this book right here is so easy to understand for the average person.
Adopted our children out of an inner city.
Yes, I worked in the inner city for 10 years.
How come they don't
I get it.
change? How come they get more and more decaying?
We spend $20 trillion on welfare and
Yeah.
programs, and it hasn't improved poverty one iota.
No.
What it
what's
does is
keep
it's...
them down.
Look what's going on in Alabama right now. This is the headline today.
It says
13 Alabama counties saw 85% drop in food stamp participation after work requirements restarted.
Look, this is what we were talking about yesterday. The problem is individuals. People, if you offer people free food, they don't have to work for it, they're not going to work for it.
No.
So you create a low-level lifestyle for them that will go on forever, and they feel very comfortable. Yeah, we have to fight against our basic laziness, for one.
Yeah.
We all like to get things for free without looking at the consequences of doing so.
That's right.
And they rob people of their self-determination, of their independence.
The last administration, something I could never understand. I understood it, but I couldn't accept it. It was insane. Was advertising in magazines, newspapers, in the subways, everywhere for free food stamps for people, recruiting people to sign up.
Of course. They want people dependent. Then when the election comes around, they say they're going to take away your food stamps if you don't vote for us.
That's right.
It's so
Wow.
corrupt.
It was all planned.
Democratic Party
Planned
is an
out.
evil party. These days, that doesn't mean that everybody who votes Democrat understands what's going on. They don't. But it is an evil party. It is the worst nightmare of minorities in the first place, of poor people, keeps people in poverty, likes them there. That's the Democratic Party.
And this is the revelation in Big Agenda, the book, President Trump's plan to save America. You need to find out what it's about. You can't build on all this hearsay and all this news that people are just spewing out.
Right.
Anything. And they're trying to impeach the President of the United States. And what are you doing? I'm asking you out there watching me, what are you doing? What are we doing?
That's right.
I keep inviting guests here to speak to you truth of what's going on in the world.
That's right.
You know, and believe me, my life is threatened for doing this. Isn't that amazing? In America, where I grew up being taught that we were the home of the free and the brave, you know, this is the place where we would be able to be free. We're not free.
No.
I don't want to put a Trump bumper sticker on my car. No, just because it's inconvenient to have it repaired. Because they'll scratch it, they'll beat it up. That's why they're destroying your freedom of speech. And the church is hiding. And they're afraid. The Johnson Amendments made it so all churches felt that they could no longer talk about politics. And that's unbelievable. Because, you know, the black church, the center of the community is the church.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what, you're not going to shut up most of my black pastor friends because they're going to talk about politics. But it's time, and I've got some great friends of black and white, but I'm telling you, they have decided they're not going to let the black community move into destruction any longer. That's how I feel.
That's right.
Now,
Don't go away. We'll be right back after this special message.
My grandchildren, my children, they all use this. I mean, my little kids, the first thing they can say almost is silver.
it's the truth.
And if they cut themselves or anything, they go and get it themselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The research that I've done, and I'm so glad we're going to share it with everyone today, has proven there is evidence that silver can kill any virus that it's been tested on. Products like the silver, which will absolutely kill any virus, bacteria, fungus, mold that we may be exposed to.
This is like my
Really is a
healthcare in
in a bottle and in a yes.
Yeah. And today we're offering the set. Order yours today. If you haven't tried it, try it.
Oh yeah.
You know, all the reports I read, Doctor, they found no side effects. Every university study, everything I've read, there's no side effects. You're getting, for $135, you're getting this large tube of the gel, which is for everything.
Great.
But you're
For
getting
sure.
the hand lotion,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes. I'm
for
we're-
rough and dry skin.
I'm rubbing
Promotes
it all
natural
over.
healing also.
Yes.
Okay, what else? What's in your
Oh my
hand?
goodness. I still holding on to it.
She's not gonna
I'm
let it go.
holding on to
You'll
this
put me down,
facial
Tom.
cream.
What else?
And we also have the silver dental gel. Now, Dr.
For
Selman.
toothpaste. Do you
Yes.
know about that?
Talk
too,
to
Doctor?
us about this, will you please?
Right. So there's a big concern right now amongst cardiologists understanding the connection of periodontal disease and increased incidence of heart disease. A study was recently done with the silver. And what they did is they took the silver with people who had periodontal disease and they put it in a tray like you get for whitening your teeth, so it would really penetrate up into the pockets. And they found within 2.5 months it eliminated the periodontal disease.
That's unbelievable. So the
And so that's our now
the toothpaste, tooth
we
gel
want
comes
this.
with it also.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, all for $135 for the whole set.
Incredible.
Then you get these.
Right.
These are just so wonderful. They've had the nano silver with honey and peppermint, essential oils. They taste fabulous. And I don't use these just for singing. I use just for breath.
That's
and
right.
to eat them. And
That's right.
to
That's
have them all the
exactly
time.
right.
The other ingredients in there, one of them is an organic honey. And honey is so medicinal in its own right. It's antibacterial, antifungal, and antiviral, but it also is soothing. So you're soothing the tissues. And peppermint also, which is the organic peppermint in that product, is not only good for taste, but it's actually antibacterial as well. And then it's made with a sweetener, which is called xylitol, my favorite sweetener, which is great for diabetics because it doesn't spike your blood sugar levels. It's not a normal sugar. It's a healthy sweetener. So it's a fantastic product that can be used for just, making your mouth feel good, fresh, or if you have, if you're dealing with specific conditions and sore throats of some sort.
So you get a whole box of those.
Yes, you do.
And honestly, I don't know what I do. I've been talking all day.
You have.
And I have one in my mouth right now.
Yes, yes.
And it just soothes things down.
Right.
Stops me from coughing.
Right.
It really works. When they
Okay.
order this, they're going to get the silver
This.
book,
Yes.
which gives you all kinds of ideas of what it does.
It's a great book. It's a great book. You have no idea all the uses from these products until you read that book.
But also, you're going to get Dr. Summon's DVD seminar. We have the Unlocking the Keys to the Ageless Body. We have the patented Nano Silver and the Healing Miracle of Silver. These are all DVDs, and they're individual, and you get all three of them along with the book and along with all the products that we've just
Again, this is
named.
an amazing deal. Okay, you get one large liquid 16-ounce bottle of silver salt, one large gel 4 ounce, one face cream 3.4 ounces, 1 hand cream, 3.4 ounces, 1 set of 3 applicator bottles, which is wonderful, 1 box of lozenges, and there's 21 in that box, 1 dental gel, 4 ounces, 1 of the Nature's Healer book, which you got to read that book, 1 Unlocking the Keys to an Ageless Body by Dr. Cheryl, of course, and you get the Patented Nano Silver Seminar and the Healing Miracle of Silver, all 3 DVDs included in that package.
That's an excellent
$135
package.
Call now, 1-888-988-1588. Again, that toll-free number is 1-888-988-1588. And you can write Pastor Jim at P.O. Box 7330, Branson, Missouri 65615. You can also order this offer right now on our website at jimbakkershow.com. Thank you so much for your prayers and donations. You are the reason we can keep broadcasting around the world.
If we could go back real quick, maybe somebody wasn't watching yesterday and you didn't get to formally meet David. And, you know, with your parents being card-carrying communist, right before this broadcast, you stated to me that you were 9 years old when you were in your first march.
Yeah, I marched in 1948 in a May Day parade.
Wow.
But I feel I was robbed of my childhood because, you know, young people have to discover who they are and who everybody else is. And I was already a preacher. I mean, I was preaching an evil doctrine, but I was a preacher.
You didn't know.
So I was telling people I didn't listen.
Mm-hmm.
And it took a tragedy when the Black Panthers murdered this friend of mine for me to begin to listen.
And so is that when you started converting, so to speak, from
It took
Democrat?
me 7 years. It was much easier to stop being leftist than to pull the lever for Ronald Reagan. That was really hard.
Wow.
And my writing partner and I wrote an infamous article for the Washington Post called Lefties for Reagan, which ruined my literary career. I don't get reviewed anymore by New York Times or the Washington Post. That was it. My partner said, our literary careers are over. And I said, you're nuts. But he was right.
But he was right.
You are an amazing writer, one of the great
Yes,
writers of our time.
absolutely.
A historian.
So
Before
many
we
books.
go any deeper, we're getting deep already.
Yeah.
But what are some of what you feel your great accomplishments in writing are? I know did we talk about the Rockefeller? You did the
I wrote a
Rockefeller
trilogy with Peter Collier on the Rockefellers, the Kennedys, and the Fords. And the Kennedys actually went to #1 on the Times bestseller list.
What do you call them? Dynasty? Biography?
Yeah, the Rockefellers an American dynasty, the Kennedys an American drama, the Fords an American epic. But then we wrote a book called Destructive Generation about the left and about what we had done. That made us really popular among the leftists. They really brought out the knives over that one. And then I wrote an autobiography called Radical Son, which is my life story up to then. It was published 20 years ago.
Well,
So when you're writing about President Trump and his agenda, you're not a novice on this subject.
No, this is something I can just turn out. I mean, it's my life experience. And as I was saying before, that in order to understand what's happening, you have to understand who the enemy is. You have to understand what the other side is doing, what their agenda is. And in order to appreciate Trump, you really have to see that. Once you see what the left is about, then you see how important Trump is. And part of it is just that he blurts out the truth.
That he does. And that's
that
what
may
we
shock
love
some
about
people.
him. Huh?
That shocks people, right?
Yeah, and you can't find a lot of Republicans today who will say the truth unvarnished.
Because they have to be politically correct, so to speak.
Yeah, they're deferential, they're well-mannered.
Mm-hmm. You said something.
And I always say, I often feel guilty. I feel, like as a former radical, I was sent to teach conservatives bad manners.
Because,
But politics, it's very dirty, and it's war.
Right.
And they will destroy you if you don't defend yourself.
That's the truth. And you're right. When you taught us something, I believe yesterday, you said it's better than I could even verbalize it, but you said that us as conservatives, Republicans, everyone calls Republicans conservatives, that we're so well-mannered, we've been brought up with such good manners that we won't fight back until we finally elected this president.
Yeah, we're patriots. Look, Obama, the Iranian mullahs, the Nazis who run the Republic of Iran, have publicly said death to America.
Yes.
And Obama gave them nuclear weapons and $200 billion, and not one Republican said, that's treason. You are betraying every American who gave his life in the war in Iraq to keep the Iranians out. It's just horrifying. And then there's 200,000 Christians in Iraq were just slaughtered, and Obama did nothing.
Right.
And where was the outcry?
Yes. Yes.
You got to read the book, people.
Yes.
Yeah. There's so much in here. We've just given you the little tips of the iceberg. This is an amazing book. This book will open your eyes about the war. This is, we got a different president now than normal, and so we got to bring him down somehow.
Right.
And this is just a war of fun. And you know, when you see, you know, movie stars and all, you know, one girl standing up with the head of the president cut off, bleeding, with blood dripping down. And the humor is evil. The bringing down of our president, there is an active war to destroy the president of the United States.
Trump is not replaceable. There are people around him who are actually second thoughters like myself and my friends, like Steve Bannon and Stephen Miller. But they're not public political figures. There is no political figure that I can think of that even somebody whom I like a lot, Mike Huckabee, he's too polite.
He's so
a
polite.
Nice man.
He's amazing.
You have to be somewhat.
I love him.
I do too. He sat right there where you're sitting. And
we need a hitter.
yes, you're right. That's right on.
It's a
That's
war.
the truth.
Need a street fighter. That's what they call him, right? A street fighter that can defend.
Huckabee is very clear-headed. I like what he says, but he.
Yes, we agree.
It's like it's hard to overcome
Mondo
the
says Trump's
upbringing, which makes you a nice person.
He said Trump's a street fighter. Somebody the other day said that, you know, Trump is so used to fighting the unions in the city. You know, I don't know if you ever felt with
casino rivals.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what, you guys don't get it if you haven't been in a work job, in a construction job in a big city. And the unions are going to fight, and they're going to fight you. And if you pass a line,
Ronald Reagan once said, he said, I learned everything I know about fighting communists, fighting them in the Screen Actors Guild.
they really put him down. It was a little bit like
they
now.
called him an idiot. He was an idiot. He was going to start World War III. You know,
Yeah, they said
wasn't
couldn't trust him with the button. That's what they always say.
Yeah. That's what they said.
You know, the only conservatives they speak halfway well of are dead ones, and they're out of the action. When you're on the front lines, there isn't anybody who isn't tarred and feathered, and they just set out to destroy you.
You have to read this book.
Yes.
It's so much. It's so deep. It's so easy to read too. But it's got all the answers. All the answer. Who is Trump? What is it all about?
Yes.
What is the big agenda? What it is? What's going on? And it's President Trump's plan to save America.
Yes.
And I want to tell you something. You need to educate your kids.
You need to
I'll
educate
kid you
yourself.
what. Some of your children are going to be as dumb as a doornail when it comes to all the freedom of religion and everything. They're just not going to know.
I would say the schools in Edina, Minnesota, which is a suburb of Minneapolis, they have a book for first graders. It's a big picture book, and it says A is for activist.
Oh my.
They're teaching them how to be leftists.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
Kindergartners, they have no respect for childhood, for innocence. None.
I would say to grandparents and parents, buy this book and give it to your children, because young people do need to start becoming more involved with politics, because they are trying to indoctrinate us from the time we start school. And well, it feels like even the time we are born now, they're trying to indoctrinate us. And the young people need to get involved with politics. And no, politics is not going out and rioting because you didn't get your way and burning down buildings and flipping cop cars. That's not rioting. That's a glorified pity party. We need to become unified as a party and stand and fight back.
Yes. And
If you want to get the books, you can, for $88, we want to send you 6 of the books.
Yes.
And I want you to share them. I really do. It's getting desperate. And I'll tell you what I've seen with this whole thing on the president and the trials on television. They're trials. They put him on trial. He's not even at all of his trials, but they're there. They're doing this.
It's ridiculous.
And do you know the big news this week is that James Comey, he admitted that he leaked
Yes.
the information from the notes that he had written down, and he leaked it so it would be leaked.
Yeah, he gave it
To the
his
media.
friend.
And this is what they've done,
Yes.
people.
Yes.
This is how they destroyed me 35 years ago. They literally leak things that they want to have put out to the media. And this is what our agencies of government do. Before they even put you on trial, they start leaking out the smear campaign.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the purpose is to handcuff Trump. But going back to what Christians can do, I mean, I'm not an expert in the Gospels, but I believe Jesus said, I bring not peace, but a sword. And it's the sword of truth.
Yeah.
But it's got to cut. It can't be, you can't do it by, making it not feel like a sword.
Wow.
And that's the problem now. It's really one of language.
Wow.
Just you have to, call them out for what they are.
Well, we're in the stage of word warfare.
Yes.
And if we don't win this war,
Yes.
we are going to be in the stage of bombs and tanks and all the other kind of warfare.
Yes. Here's what the Civil War, there can't be a Civil War like 1860 because the federal government is way too powerful.
Yeah.
So the war is it is a war of words and a war of political organization, because whoever controls the federal government will control the outcome of the war. It's that simple. So this is a fight that Christians can get engaged in and have to get engaged in.
We have to.
So remember the price of Obama, 500,000 people slaughtered in the Middle East because he created a vacuum, putting Russia in there, letting this North Korean lunatic develop ballistic missiles and nuclear weapons while he did absolutely nothing. This is really dangerous. This is not simple stuff. And there's 20 million refugees in the Middle East, all created on Obama's watch, all because he was an anti-American president.
And
Terrorists always have a political arm. The Irish Republican Army had a political party, Sinn Féin. They do the propaganda work. They, throw dust in people's eyes so they can't see what's going on. That's what CARE does. That's what the Muslim Brotherhood in this country is doing.
Brigitte Gabriel has been on our show a few times, and she helped us
She's
to understand.
terrific.
Isn't she terrific? We love her. And she has helped us to understand CARE and the whole the Muslim Brotherhood and their whole entire 100-year plan.
They're in the schools.
It's
They're
happening.
creating curriculum in the California schools.
Right.
My state is gone.
Yeah.
We've got a few questions from last show,
Yes.
from yesterday's show.
Yes.
So I want to do those, but I want to make sure you order your book today. Everybody order at least one.
Yes.
And read it.
You will really
Don't just buy
love it.
Read it.
Yes.
So if you order one for $15, it is a $26.99 retail book, $26.99. And we want you to get it and read it and perhaps get 6 of them, half a dozen, and give one to your pastors, give them to other people, give it to your children.
Yes.
And so for 6 books, you can get it for $88.
Yes.
And that's a big, big, big saving.
Right.
The Bible says that without knowledge, people will perish.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So we need to educate ourselves, educate your community. And I cannot believe this is the best price. You're not going to find it nowhere else, only here on the Jim Bakker Show. So go to the website right now, order this books, and order them for your pastors, your community leaders, whoever you have influence with. It's a must read.
Yes.
Okay, yesterday I ended on question number 12, and it was supposed to go to 20, and I didn't finish the ball. How has Trump changed Republican strategies in confronting the Democrats?
Well, he's done what, again, no Republican would do. Look with these executive orders. I mean, he's undoing the Obama damage. You know, look what he's done for the church community.
Yeah.
He stood up for religious freedom.
Yes.
He's encouraged religious groups. And I think he's affected, there are Republicans he's affected. I mean, Nikki Haley is,
Yes.
I mean, she's an establishment. Not only is she an establishment Republican, but she opposed Trump when he was running.
That's right.
And she's a tremendous voice at the UN for the
She
United
sure
States
is.
for human rights.
She sure is.
But until Trump, there was nobody. These people like Bannon, Miller, Spicer, they know that Trump is at their back. He has their back.
Mm-hmm.
You name me another Republican who would be president-elect and then have his chief strategist be called a white nationalist, a racist, an anti-Semite,
Right.
and not throw him under the bus.
Yeah.
And Trump has shown that you can, you know, take the lightning and survive it. And that's a big message, but it's going to take a while to sink in.
Yeah. Yeah. Pray for these people, and stand up with them. I love watching the daily. You know, when we're taping shows, I miss my daily news briefing. I love the daily news briefing. I love
told you
them.
she was a junkie.
Cora taught me something this morning. Cora's one of our producers. Cora taught me a new word. Cora, it's called what?
Infotainment.
Infotainment.
Yes.
I never heard this word before. I'm not that bright, I guess.
The
but-
news is getting so crazy right now that it's actually turning into a form of entertainment.
Yeah.
It's entertainment, but it's not info.
It's not info.
no.
It is entertainment, but that's what they're calling it. Yes.
Well, you know, when they were putting the Comey trial on,
Yes. That.
all
yeah.
the networks, they didn't when there was the horrible attack in England where
Yes.
you know 21,000 kids in an arena. There was an attack there, and the big networks, they didn't even break in for that news, but they broke in and they took all day
But this
to
is
run the trial.
This is why the Democrats' days are numbered, as well as the media.
Wow.
Because the American people know that these terror attacks are going on, and they know they're coming here unless something is done. And the American people support our sovereignty, borders, the wall, the vetting. Of course, we have to ban immigration from terrorist countries. It didn't take brains to know that, but if you're a Democrat, your brains are glued up by this identity politics nonsense. So I believe there's a groundswell in this country, and
Well, what
I
about
believe the church community can do a lot to encourage it and make it really strong.
The next question was, who is the shadow party government? Is it real?
Well, shadow government is a term I think they use in England, where they put together the opposition government. But shadow party is a term that actually the Washington Post gave to George Soros, and he has built an unbelievable political machine. He's collected billionaires, he's collected street radicals, he's collected racists on the left like Black Lives Matter. He's funding them all, and Democrats. And there's no Democrat who can run without if Soros is opposing them. You know, there's too much money there. So I wrote a whole book called The Shadow Party about Soros, and
Of course.
he's a very, very dangerous man. It's a movement. It's a religious cult is the way I describe it. It's people motivated by a racist view of us, that we need to be ranked by race, by ethnicity, by gender, by sexual orientation, whatever it is. I mean, they do it very cleverly because they pretend to be standing up for victims, which makes the rest of us oppressors. And it's very important because the basic American myth is that of the underdog. We were 13 little colonies. We went up against the greatest empire in the world, and we beat them. And so Americans always root for the underdog. And that's why it's really important for conservatives to get out vocally supporting minority communities, poor communities, so doing what Trump did, working Americans. He stood up for the working class.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
that used to be...
That used to be the Democrats, right?
Yeah.
Why are people on both sides of the aisle trying to impeach the president?
Don't go away. We'll be right back after this special message.
We put together this family gathering bundle.
Right.
Okay?
Yes.
And it's only $450.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And so that is a year and 4 months.
Yes, sir.
That is a tremendous saving. And when you get this food, you get the fruit variety bucket, 199 serving. You get a vegetable variety bucket, 109 servings. You get the gluten-free black bean bucket, 215 servings. You get the Fiesta bucket, 196. That's the whole Mexican bucket.
Yes, sir.
Right.
And then we have the French toast kit, which was just developed last
John's
month.
right.
And so it's a $925 value. So you're going to save $475. And then you get this bonus of 2 boxes of each flavor of Frontier Bites.
Right.
And so there's macadamia, pineapple, coconut. There's pecan, cherry, cinnamon. There's almond, blueberry, lemon. And so you get, how many boxes of that now?
2 of each flavor.
This is a special product that's only going to be for this special week.
That's right.
That's right. It's good.
Okay, now you have the new meal extenders. This
Yes.
is a John Shorey thing. This meal extenders is 1,837 servings.
It's good.
There's almost 2 years of food.
Right.
so-
Right.
And extenders, they're like, put some water in the soup, Ma.
Yes.
Because we got company.
That's
you know,
right.
and that's what extenders are.
Yes.
And I think we ought to order one right now.
I do too. This
because
is great.
we've got lots of food stored away.
Right.
But when people drop in,
Right.
they can eat a lot.
Well, the extenders
Add
are.
some
You have to add some
extenders,
some
that's right.
extenders like
Okay,
lentil bean bucket, which is 386 servings.
I could sing the Hallelujah chorus. I know I love lentils. I'm a lentil fan.
It's true.
They give me energy.
Yes.
Can't you tell?
Yes.
Okay, pinto beans.
432 servings.
Right.
So then what's the next one?
White rice bucket,
How many servings?
405.
Then what is this vegetable stew mix? 388 servings.
Yes.
So then the potato slice bucket.
Mm-hmm.
So what can you do with a potato slice?
Anything. Eat it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever you want to do. You can fry it up. You can boil it. You can add it to stews, soups, whatever you want to do.
Okay, so here we have the new meal extenders. These are extenders.
Well, with the meal extender bundle, you also get a bonus
Yes.
as well. You receive 2 boxes of each flavor of the Frontier Bites
Yes.
that we all love so much, and that's macadamia, pineapple, coconut, pecan, cherry, cinnamon, almond, blueberry, lemon, and they are wonderful. They're only 8 ingredients in
So
these.
you're
wonderful
getting 1
things.
year, 8 months of food. So for $550, and you're getting this set of 2 boxes of
and 6
each,
pouches.
Oh, 2
comes
boxes of
in
each flavor
each
Frontier
box.
Bites.
So call 1-888-988-1588 or write us today at P.O. Box 7330, Branson, Missouri 65615, or go to the website, jimbakkershow.com.
It's
crazy.
Watch Maxine Waters.
Exactly.
And she has so ill-served her South Central community. She's
sad.
anti-police. Well, I did gang stories in Compton, and I did interview mothers of murdered children. And I said, "What's your complaint about the police?" And they'd say, "Where are they? They're not here."
She organized the 1992 riots. I remember being in those meetings with her.
Yes.
I mean, she's trouble, and she got us in trouble.
Yeah, oh, sure.
I mean, there's so much. That's why you have to get this book, because in order to understand what's happening in your inner cities, in our communities, it's what you explain here. And that's why you being here and letting us know people like Maxine Waters and the kind of power that they bring to the table and how corrupt. I'm speaking from a person that lived there. I saw it happen, and I didn't realize it until I lost my best friend, John Paul. And he was a African-American kid that I was told I was not to have any friendships with him because of the color of our skin, but it was all political because it was separated from East LA to Compton. Listen, a bunch of kids, we don't just come out and say we're going to have a peace treaty with all the gangs. It doesn't work that way. It had to be a political movement in order to get all of our gangs to be at peace for several weeks, and it was all organized. I mean, we were there.
Yeah,
so on the other side, the dangers of being involved in politics and not even knowing what it's behind it, it becomes crucial in our inner cities. And that's why the oppression, I keep hearing that, the oppression of our minority kids, and we're given just a small little round of how to play. If we get outside of our boundaries, believe me, they are going to correct us. They don't want us to go out of our boundaries. Therefore, because we become successful. I mean, on page 86, you tell us that if the community, if the parents can find out that their kids can be given $12,000 or more for education, the Democrat Party will lose their vote.
That's right. It'll be all over. It'll be all over. I was able to influence, through my connections to Bannon and Miller, Trump to propose a $130 billion voucher program for the inner cities. He's been under such attack, hasn't put that on the agenda. But if there is such a plan, every black church is a school, could potentially be a school. It would transform the inner cities of America, and it would blow up the political base of the Democratic Party. I mean, one of the great handicaps of this country is that you have this vast Christian community of good people who are not engaged in the political struggle. Now, I mean, I know that's changing, but if I were a member of this community, that would be my priority, getting people engaged, fight for religious freedom, fight for the America that we all grew up in.
Yes, it seems like it's starting to.
You've written that the theme of the Republican Party should be individual freedom.
Freedom, that's right. Democrats talk like missionaries, or hell and fire damnation preachers is what they talk. They're always indicting you. Republicans are damned, and it's always a moral indictment. Republicans talk like accountants.
Oh, this is
Obamacare it is bad because it doubles the cost and it's unworkable and on. But the real evil of Obamacare is that it's an attack on individual freedom. One of the most basic freedoms you have is to choose your doctor, to choose your plan, to have control over your health care. Not to have the government tell you, you get to choose between two plans.
That's exactly right. We need our own.
And if you want to motivate people, people get motivated by values like freedom.
Yes.
We have to have the emotional message the way the Democrats do.
Do you think Democrats don't support individual freedom?
No. They can't stand it. Why would you go after a religious couple? I happen not to share these views, but I respect that religious people can have them. They didn't want to make a wedding cake for a gay couple. Why would you go after them? Except that you hate religious people. That's what it's about.
Wow.
They don't want individual freedom. Why can't Ann Coulter speak at Berkeley?
Right.
The reason is they see themselves as social redeemers. Wow. They think they know what's good for you, and they're going to force you to do it.
Yes.
That's the message of every one of their idiotic reforms. When you talk to a leftist or a Democrat these days about rights, they don't see it as limits on government. That's the American idea of rights. They see it as you have a right to housing, you have a right to health care, you have a right, which all that means is you have a right to stick your hands in other people's pockets, take out what they've earned, and give it to yourself. That's the Democrats' idea of rights. And we have Ruth Bader Ginsburg, a left-wing extremist who got 96 votes, I think, at confirmation. Orrin Hatch walked her through. She said the South African Constitution, which was written by literally communists, card-carrying, which gives you a right to everything and a right to be free from violence in one of the most violent countries in the world. These are what Madison called paper rights. They're not the kind of Americans understand rights as keep the government off my back.
Like a living constitution?
Well, a living constitution is so they can erase the Constitution and write their own communist constitution. Wow. That's what it's about.
Somebody wants to know why Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton are staying involved.
Because it's a religious cult. They're trying to save the planet, the world, the planet. They're intoxicated with their own virtue.
Like the globalism?
It's a movement. They're not interested. Politics is the art of compromise. The founders saw, it's limited how much you can improve mankind. How different are we than people who lived 3,000 years ago? Well, if we were really different in any significant way, you couldn't read the Bible. You'd say, who are these people? How are they behaving? But they behave just like us because we haven't changed in 3,000 years morally. And, again, I go back to Genesis because, first of all, what did the serpent tell Adam and Eve? How did he seduce them? You shall be as God. That's what they think they are. They think they're gods. They can remake the world. They can create what they say, make a better world. Or Hillary said we have to invent what it means to be human in the 21st century. No, we don't. We know what it is to be human. We know it's a big problem. That's why we have morality and laws, because people, you can't trust them to do the right thing and be good on their own. They need to be schooled. They need to be disciplined and so forth.
Wow.
Well, we're near the end of day 2, and I haven't finished day 1.
Wow. You have to get this book because this will explain it all for you.
The question, you've got to have the answers, though. Now, I've got, quickly, why can't President Trump not fire Obama's own team that's still in the White House?
Right.
I've always wanted to ask that. What's going on? Why hasn't he built a bigger team?
I wish I knew the answer to that. He should make a lot more appointments swiftly. Some people you can't fire. There's
Why?
Civil service rules and things like that.
Oh, God, that's right.
But they need to fire a lot more people. That's correct. Look, he's just been in office, whatever it is, 5 months.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we've got like another 3.5 years.
Yes.
By that time, a lot will be changed.
Well, you say he has 3.5 years, but what if they decide to assassinate him?
That's what prayers are for.
That's right. We pray
What happens if they assassinate him?
Well, you can never. That's one thing I learned in politics. When Harold Macmillan retired, he was the Prime Minister of England for many years. And they asked him, what is the most difficult thing that you faced? And he said, events. You never know. I mean, who would have predicted? And even though I thought Trump had a chance to win, who would you have predicted that finally, after all these years, the public would go fed up with the media lies and just not believe them anymore?
Right.
No, that's what it took.
Sure.
Oh, who knew? I mean, I think it's a remarkable thing. You know, we are a pluralistic society. We're made up of so many different points of view and different peoples, and we have to live with each other. And that's why, to me, I mean, you have to respect religious freedom. You have to respect individual freedom. But who would have thought there would ever be that remarkable moment of Trump at the Republican convention? Here he is. He's winning because of the evangelical vote.
That's right.
And he says, we have to defend the LGBTQ community because of what happened in Orlando.
Right.
And he gets applause anyway, and the evangelicals stay with him, and they get this most important thing, which is the Gorsuch appointment to the Supreme Court
right.
and a defender of religious freedom.
Yes.
That's the American way. We have to persuade each other over time, and we can't do that if we don't have a certain amount of tolerance for each other and our differences.
Excellent. It's true.
Our time's gone for today's broadcast.
And let me just say, I often chuckle when I see the attacks on the religious right, because I have quite a bit of experience with the religious right. Some people are very upset with me over various things I've said, and a lot of people that I consider my friends. And I say, they're always underestimating the intelligence of religious people. And you know, in one way, that's a good thing, because they'll never know what's going to hit them.
That's a good time to clap.
Well, you know,
Oh, man.
if you take
So
this,
good.
if you take this video home, just say, I want the free video
Yes.
of the historic interview with Ronald Reagan and Jim Bakker.
Right.
And it'll be a free bonus with this book.
Yes.
But the evangelicals really elected that man president of the United States. They had that ability, and you can say any group won it, that would be a big group involved in something. But, you know, and because if they stepped out, you know, the numbers wouldn't have been there. But this was amazing. And I think a lot of people feel that this man is the greatest president we ever had, is Ronald Reagan.
Right.
And the thing of it is, we've got a man today that God picked to be president. The church people, we better start loving each other, and we need to come together. What the media has done, and what a lot of politicians have done, they have shown themselves. You know,
Yeah.
there's another word to say that.
They have.
But they have shown themselves
Yes, they have.
for what they are. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
And they think they're fighting, but they're showing themselves. And I really believe that, David Horowitz, you believe they're showing themselves so much that millions are going to wake up and see what in the world is going on.
Yes,
You really believe that?
I really do. I think we're in a time of great transformations.
Wow, you have more
Boy.
faith than I do. That is so good.
You've given us encouragement.
It depends.
I believed it,
It
but
depends.
right now it looks like all hell is against Donald Trump.
I know, but it's not reaching America. It just isn't. I mean, they know it. I mean, the Democratic Party is in a heap of trouble. I think they're marching off a cliff, a
Wow.
left-wing cliff.
Wow.
Yep.
You're giving
Is
us
our
hope.
government,
Americans
does our government have,
we have the most tolerant, inclusive society on earth.
does our government
One of
have
the-
enough good law to protect our president and give him the power to stay in office when they're trying to
Yeah, they're going to
Impeach
fail.
him.
They can't impeach him. They're not going to impeach him. There's no impeachable offenses.
They're
The thing
making
is-
them up.
The thing is, yeah, I know, but it isn't going to work.
I love it. I love interviewing you. You're the
Yes.
most fun interview I think I've ever had.
So fascinating.
I'm challenging you, and you're coming back Page 25 of this book, that what he just told you
Yep.
is in this book.
Yes.
This is the information. This book is so full of great information. This is from a man who knows what he's talking about. This is not fluff and puff.
No, there
This
isn't
is-
any.
This is facts
Fluff
and
puff.
facts and fun information. And I'll tell you what, he's been there and done that. He's seen the rough side of the mountain. I don't know if you ever heard that song or not, but I think he's climbed the rough side of the mountain. And I'm telling you,
First they climbed me.
I invited this man here because I believe God told me to. So
Yes.
talk to God if you don't like us talking so bluntly. This is the blunt conversation we're having. All my life I've tried not to deal with Democrats and Republicans and, as far as, talk about the difference. But I'll tell you what, this man is telling us we better stand up. And I'm concerned because it's a war, and I've said it, it's a war between good and evil. And you figure out which side is which.
Right.
We have to go order the book today.
Yes.
Do it right now. $15 for one book.
Right.
They're retail for $26.99. And so this book is ready to go.
Yes. So
And
remember, you
it's a
can get-
hardback book.
Right. I love hardback books, by the way, but you can get 6 for a gift of $88. 6 of them for $88. That way you can pass them out. Do what I do. Put a few in the car, keep a few in your trunk, put them somewhere so you never know who you're going to run into, and you just feel led, literally, by the Holy Spirit to give this to somebody. So order the books now, 1-888-988-1588, or go to the website, jimbakkershow.com. You can still write us at P.O. Box 7330, Branson, Missouri, 65615.
It's time. We have some people, and here's a voice.
Yes.
This is a voice that's willing to pay the price to be heard, and he's already been paying it. So order it right now. And don't miss our next broadcast. God willing, if he's still able, he's going to be here on our next broadcasts. So David Horowitz, thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you,
amazing.
sir.
God loves you. He really does. Bye-bye for today.
Bye-bye. We love you.
Coming soon to Morningside in the Jim Bakker Show. Pastor Frank Amedia returns on Tuesday, June 27th. Bobby Connor returns to Morningside on Thursday, June 29th. Mike and Cindy Jacobs return to Morningside on Tuesday, July 4th. Our friends Pat and Karen Schatzline will be back at Morningside on Wednesday, July 5th. Tom Horn, Jennifer LeClaire, Donna Howell, and Derek Gilbert return to the Jim Bakker Show on Friday, July 7th. Don't forget our annual 4th of July celebration, July 1st through the 8th, a Morningside tradition. Come on out and join us for music, worship, ministry, teaching, prophetic words, and so much more. With guests like John Shorey, James Huey, Bobby Connor, Bill the Jumpman Whaley, Hubie Sin, Dr. Cheryl Selman, and many more. Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis will return to Morningside Friday, July 28th. We're honored to have evangelist Alveda King with us Thursday, August 24th. Author and prophet Rick Joyner will be sharing a powerful word. Join us every night at 7 p.m. for The Prophet Speak, an evening filled of worship and ministry. For our full schedule, go online to jimbakkershow.com. We can't wait for you to see what God's doing here at Morningside.